Hello, good evening. Welcome to Bottomline. My name is Kenneth Jesse. So earlier last week, government introduced a program dubbed Youth in Agric program, which has many objectives. After the break, I'll be here with my guests to understand what really this program is about and how it will benefit the youth. Stay tuned. I'll be back with more. Welcome back to Bottomline. My name is Kenneth Jesse. So as I mentioned earlier, the government of Ghana, through the Agric Minister and President Akufo-Addo, launched a program dubbed Youth in Agric program, which is to equip the youth with some agricultural skills for them to earn a living. Let's listen to the Agric Minister, Brian Champon, talking about the program during its launch earlier last week.
Every aspect of the program responds positively to the challenges and barriers impeding the desire of the youth to take up agriculture as a viable business and livelihood opportunity. The input credit system removes a major opportunities for the youth to access all the needed inputs to produce the commodity of their choice without the need to provide the upfront collateral. If you want to go into farming, eliminates the drudgery in farming and thus derives productivity. And therefore, if you don't need the cash required, we are also going to provide you the mechanization services for planting, for harvesting, for seeding. Our invitation to young people to go into agriculture is not a hoe and cutlass business. The hassle of getting access to well-organized and structured markets for selling one's produce and getting a fair, non-exploitative price is addressed under the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2. The selection of value chains under the program has also been taken into account, and the commodities selected are youth-friendly. For example, maize, rice, soya, sorghum, and vegetables have a shorter production cycle and provide quick cash for the youth. Ladies and gentlemen, through the collaboration with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and the YEA under the banner PFJ 2.0 Youth in Agriculture, we are going to put 200,000 youth into permanent work in agriculture.
Right, so that is the Agric Minister, Brian Champon, talking about how good the initiative is, and it's part of the Phase 2 of the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative introduced by the government of Ghana. I'm joined in the studio by two gentlemen to discuss this, and I have Prince Ofosu Entry, who is a youth activist, and Solomon Ajay, who is the president of the Association of Ghana Startups. Gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Good evening.
Right, let me start with you, Prince. Phase 2 of the Planting for Food and Jobs. I mean, the youth in Agric. Is that something you are enthused about?
Thank you very much. Good evening to our viewers. And I think this is a good initiative that this current government is trying to initiate for the youth of this country who are interested in this Agric business. And I think that an initiative where you just have to get a land and everything is being provided to you, your laborers, your seedlings, whatever, your agrochemicals, whatsoever you need in this agricultural thing we are talking about. I think it's something my brothers and sisters out there should take advantage of. Because looking at the Youth Employment Agency over the years, I think around 2018, they started a project like that in the Brona-Ahafo region then, when it wasn't divided. They started a project like that, and I think the buffer stock company had to be buying these proceeds from them. Later, they had to stop due to lack of funds and all. But I think this time where the president himself is promising the youth that they are going to see to the funding and all, the Agric Minister also trying to have some backing from the World Bank,
right,
and some funding. I think this is an initiative that is going to help the youth so much that my brothers and sisters out there should take advantage of.
Right. Prince, you mentioned that you only need to get a land. Well, the government is actually saying that they are providing land for you.
Yeah.
So
there are places where the government is not going to provide the land. Yes.
Okay.
Because there are places where there are this kind of chieftaincy issues.
Disputes.
Yeah, disputes and all. So if you think you have a family land which is just lying somewhere, yes, without any beneficial thing being done on the land, you could also apply with that 10-acre land or 15-acre land to get this seedlings, this palm seedlings and all, and you also start something for a living.
Right. Solomon, what do you think about the new initiative introduced by the government?
Well, good evening, Ken, of course, to our cherished viewers. Right. Like my brother said, it's a good initiative. No one can talk against it. In an era of youth unemployment, any initiative that is geared towards empowering a young person to be on his or her own, for us, is a good thing. And so to that, we applaud the government. The other aspect of it is the implementation of it. You know, oftentimes it is easier to declare such and make such promises and all that. But the question is, like we say, now look at that, let's agree the form. When they get to the ground, let's get the job going, let's hit the ground running. That is why you get to see whether what are being promised or said will be realized as it's supposed to be. And so for us, we think it's a good thing. And we are, as a private sector, we are very much open and ready to partner with the government to ensure that the young people are supported to be able to create jobs for themselves and then be able to employ others. Right. And so all out, we think it's a good thing, and we are all up for it in any capacity that we can support the government to implement this great initiative.
Right. You are the president of the Association of Startups in the country. I mean, right there, the president did mention some of the private entities they are collaborating with. He did mention of Trotro, something that will be providing trucks and all that. Your association, is there any service that you are ready to render government, or have you been approached by government to collaborate with?
Well, not so officially yet, but of course, you mentioned Trotro Tractor, as the president mentioned.
Exactly.
And that's one of our key members in our association, and he's been asked to play a lead role in terms of providing some mechanized solution and stuff like that. In fact, what they do practically is that they have an app that connects the farming equipment to local farmers. And so government wants to rely or use these services to support people who want to go into this commercial farming. And we think it's a good thing to do. So yes, we have a role to play. We have a role to play, though we are still talking. I mean, we were invited to attend the program, so we were there. And we're happy to hear that government want to work with some of our young members who are already doing the thing. Because, I mean, we've known agriculture to be more like a punishment when we were in school. When you do something, like a bar stove, you have to go and weed. And so some of us, growing up, we were seeing agriculture as a punishment. But due to the new trends now, with the likes of Trotro and things coming in, we are now, the face is changing in terms of how to do agricultural business. All right? There's a modern way of doing things, technological ways and all those things. So now it's become a bit more attractive. Right. And to us, our call is that we need to, government must be deliberate enough to ensure that agriculture is transformed in such a way that it become more attractive to young people back from the school levels. What are we doing to ensure that the young boy in SHS, for instance, will see agribusiness as the same way he see a banking business before they come out of school? Right. So we've made it look in such a way that once you go into agribusiness, it looks like it is not too. So we need to change that perception first and foremost. And I think that maybe government has taken notice of that, but we need to be much more conscious and deliberate about that to make sure that we change the mindset of the people first and foremost. Other than that, no matter how much you put into it, the person don't have the passion for it, they go and they'll hit. But once you're able to whip up their interest, whatever support you give to them, like my brother mentioned, you may not even need government land. For instance, somebody may have some land somewhere. Yeah. You can bring it up. That is only if you yourself have an interest or you want to do it. But if you don't have that interest, people will apply, go in there because government wants to give some support. It may take the support that government wants to give them before realize it's diverted. because their passion is not there, their interest is not there. They want to just take what government is giving instead of some certain incentives and then they go away with it. And so we need to get the basics right.
Right. President Akufo-Addo during the launch did mention that previously, I mean, when he was young, when you hear that a cocoa farmer or this man is a cocoa farmer, that means he's a very rich man and all that. But these days, farmers, including those in the cocoa sector, are really very impoverished in the society. How does this, you being a youth activist, how does this, how do we make it to entice the youth to trust that, look, you can enter into farming and still make a better living like Solomon was mentioning or was talking about? How do we make it as attractive as
I think I side with my brother Solomon on one or two things. And looking at the chief executive officer of the Youth Employment Agency, Kofi Japan himself,
right,
and then even looking at the Agric Minister, who is a farmer himself, I trust both of them to work very hard to make this enticing to the youth. I sat in class with the second son of the Draben Hine, the head of the Council of State, Nano Tu Sebo, and today we all completed university and he's a farmer. And he's rich.
Yes.
He's youth. So I think since these incentives are being given, we have tractors being given to the youth to work. You need not to go there to weed yourself.
Right.
They are going to get laborers where the YEA, they are going to pay them stipends here and there. They are going to give you agronomies that you are going to use your chemicals and all. I think this is an opportunity for the youth to enrich ourselves. We are not going to sit in the classroom alone, learn, come back and start looking for white-collar jobs. We are in a country where people wear white shirts to work and they are still not rich.
Yeah.
But we see farmers coming to Accra, going to other cities to purchase things that people who are working in big offices are not even having money to buy. Today, the price of cocoa has been increased from, I think, 700 cedis to 1,380 today. So if there is a cocoa farmer who is a youth in this country who was earning around 7,000 Ghana cedis a year, today his finances will be increasing from 7,000 Ghana cedis to around 15,000 Ghana cedis and over. And if we are able to manage our resources as it is, I think we are going to make progress and we are going to have youth who will be agric interest people having a lot of money in this country.
Right. I mean, the initiatives introduced by this government have divided opinions. Government has defended it strongly that, look, the initiatives we introduced, like NABCO, planting for food and jobs, the first phase, and one constituency, $1 million, what have you. There are concerns that this initiative that is being introduced really might not stand the test of time. There are concerns that this is just, a flash in the pan, something that is about to come and then go. Do you share in that opinion?
No, I understand your point, and I'll use the former Chief Executive of Forestry Commission, may he so rest in perfect peace, Honorable Sir John. When he started this youth in afforestation, this was the same thing we heard some naysayers saying, that the government is just creating jobs for the boys here and there, and this is not feasible. But today we have a specific day set aside to do a plantation of trees across this country. It started from somewhere. But I have a problem with the attitude of the youth of this country. If we don't change our attitude from getting money immediately to a long-term goal, this is how our country is going to look like. Each government will come, propose, bring new initiatives which seems to elevate the youth from this poverty we all talk about. But if we don't change our attitude towards the things the government is trying to implement, then we'll always go back to square one. Right. Because today the president is giving out some funds to the youth who wants to engage in agriculture. I'm here. I have a land in Ekiase, that is my hometown, over 20 acres. I go in for palm seedlings. Then the next 5 to 6 years, I sell the farmland to somebody else and take money. Since I've seen somebody driving a flashy car or something, I try getting it just today. Then tomorrow, if I don't get any money to maintain that car, I'll come back to square zero.
Right.
And do I go back to blame the Akufo-Addo government?
Yeah.
Do I go back to blame Kofi Japan, the CEO of YEA? Or go back to blame Dr. Brian Champon, the agricultural minister? They are giving us opportunities. They are giving us a facelift of our lives. Right. But if we, the youth, are not changing our attitude towards work, if we are not changing our attitude towards the opportunities being created for us, then my brother, it will always be an issue of we talk but no action.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, a few text messages that have come in. Let me read them. This one says, I'm Alexander Listowell in Ketia from Accra, and I'm very interested in animal farming, especially in grass cutter farming, rabbit farming, etc. I want a capital to start this business. And this one is also from Abraham Into from Asaman Kese, and he says, please, how do you connect to this program and be part of it? Abraham, you can go to the YEA website. That is, I think, yea.gov.gh, and then you apply there. And this one, the one from Alexander. Alexander, that is also part of it. So the youth in Agreg has 4 components, and then they are crops or block farm, livestock and poultry, fishery, aquaculture, and agribusiness. So I believe what you want to do, Alexander, also forms part of this initiative. Let me come to you, Solomon. When they were telling us about how this program is going to run, specifically the agriculture minister said they're going to give, that is, if you don't have a land, they're going to give you 10 acres of a land to start farming everything that you need, but they're really not going to take much from you. Looking at how the initiative is going to be run, do you think people are going to take it seriously? Because usually things that don't come so hard for people, they usually take it for granted. Do you think the government should institute a policy that, look, your first yields, we're going to take about 50% of your income, or you think it should run it this way for some time to see how it's going to go?
Well, so Ken, that's a good one. But for me, really, I have issue with freebies coming in. The point you made clearly is about sustainability. What measures I will put in place to ensure that this program will not be a one-off show, but it can be sustained over time. All right? And we know our own people. Like my brother said, attitude is key in this whole thing. And I didn't struggle for it. I was given a land, given all the things I need. People hardly would take those things serious. All right. And so I think that the policy-wise, I don't know the details of the plan they have for sustainability, but I will always be against things that are given to people for free. I have a belief that, look, if you want it, commit to it. Let your skin go inside, as we say it. Then they'll take it serious. All right? But when the person doesn't pay for it, they don't value it that much. But when they have invested into it, that is why in our session, when we are educated about the various forms of financing a business, right, a startup, right, the first thing we'll talk about is your own personal savings. Before your family, before your friends, before you look at other sources. So if you yourself, you want to go into the business and you don't want to invest into it, then that will be a challenge. And so for me, I think that we need to look at it not more like a promising something for political gain. Right. If you really want to do this as a business or want people to go into it for sustained businesses, then there must be a win-win situation. Right. Government, one of the government wins is to ensure that there's employment for people. That's right, fine. But beyond that, how much money is being allocated for this project? And where would the money, the extra money come from? Right? So assuming there's a $1 million EMI for this project, and you end up giving to, let's say, 500 farmers, and the 1 million is exhausted, what happens? Projects are ended, or different money will be voted in again. Why don't you make more like a revolving fund? We give you $1,000. You work, in the next 2-3 years, some time to whatever it is, you pay back the money. Or you pay a percentage to the coffers. So that money will be given to someone else. I think, in my honest thought, that will be much more sustainable than giving it out and say, I'll not take anything from you. Just go and
They did mention that they're going to take something, but it's not going to be very significant. That was the words
for me, like I'm
minister.
saying, I think that whatever that will be taken, right, it should be very significant.
Okay.
I honestly do not support anything that goes out for free, 100% free, as I said. If you want it, commit to it. All right? And in such a way, the person knows that I toil for it, so they will value it. Okay. It says, if you carry your water you know the value of every drop. But when the person doesn't toil for these things, we hardly, and I mean, he mentioned attitude. And you and I know what we're talking about. The genesis of it all. People don't appreciate things they didn't, actually toil for. And so it's important that, it's a great project, but let's make sure that we have plans for sustainability. Right. Where for me, I think it will be better if we do more like a revolving fund sort of. Right. Where the money is given to you, we have a moratorium, you work for some time, you pay back the money, or like you said, the government take whatever your first year, all those things, so that you're actually paying back the money, even if not 100%, but a significant amount of payback. Okay. Then it can be used to reinvest in someone else. Okay. Other than that, in the next 2-3 years, you hear the money has exhausted. It's and then the project is halted, and that's it.
Right. Yeah. I can see Prince wants to come in, but I'll come back to you briefly. This one is from Michael from Who, and it says, funding is the main hindrance for some of us, the youth, who have passion for farming. I want to know if there's any source of funding and how to access this fund. Michael, as I mentioned earlier, you go to YEA's website, that is yea.gov.gh, and then you follow the instructions there. You can access it from there. And this one is from William at Achim Abuabo. He says, good evening, Mr. Host. Kudos to you and your panelist, especially Prince. Tell him Achim Oda is watching. Prince, let me come to you.
Yeah, I think on the 18th, when the luncheon was done at Legon, the policy documents that were shared around, I chanced on a statement which says that you plant, they give you laborers to work, they pay the stipends, and the government buys the proceeds from you. So it's not like everything is being given free to the youth, then you end up selling it to the general market. This is a project I think the government is aiming at getting enough food for the buffer stock. We don't want to...
Aside creating jobs.
Yes, aside creating jobs, we need food sufficiency. We need to be resilient on the food we have, the access of foodstuffs we have in our country, where we'll cut down on importation of this poultry, we cut down on importation of this rice and maize and all. So if you have enough food where the youth are planting, the youth are in this agricultural business here and there, the government is going to buy the end proceeds from them. So automatically that proceeds will go back to the government coffers. So that money, instead of we going to sell the maize at Techiman, you sell that to the government. Today we have free SHS where students complain of shortage of food. But if after 2 or 3 years, this project is being executed well, and the youth change their attitude towards it, and they are taking it serious and working towards it well, the government is going to get enough food to feed our junior brothers and sisters in our second cycle schools, where the buffer stock will not be in the news again, that they are not able to pay their suppliers and all. So I think this is a long-term project that we should all change our attitude and work well towards it. And I believe the Chief Executive Officer of YEA and the Agricultural Minister for their words, and I think they will work together to make this project a success.
All right. This one is from Daniel Amadi, and he says, I'm watching this interesting program live from Ebri in the eastern region of Ghana, and would like to know if I can speak with the president, that is Mr. Solomon Ajay, and have a talk with him. Thanks, and I appreciate the good work you're doing in terms of agri. So I don't know, Mr. Ajay, I don't know whether you would like to give your number out, or I don't know, because he says he wants to speak to you, Daniel Amadi.
I don't know if that's a way that you could get to him. I'll be glad.
Okay.
But of course, I don't mean I don't really mind if.
Okay. So we will finish him with your
that's
contacts.
Fine.
Okay.
That's fine. I mean, anybody who want to talk to us, we are running a public institution, and so we are available to talk to anybody. Okay. And of course, you can visit our website as well. Maybe that will help him. Okay. You can go to our website, agsghana.org. Okay. agsghana.org. Okay. Get to our website. Our contacts are there. You can get in touch with us. Okay. Alternatively, you can come to our office at Accra Data Center if you want.
Okay. Where's your office?
Accra Data Center.
Okay. Prince, you made a point that I wanted to inquire further about. You did mention that government said that they're going to buy the produce.
Yeah.
So government is going to buy it and do what? And sell it?
No.
Okay.
You see, we need enough food storage in our country. There was a time where the former agri minister had to go to villages and buy plantain and all and come and set up a market square at the Ministry of Agriculture to sell them to the ordinary Ghanaian. But if you have a system where we have enough food to feed our students, to feed people in the country, through this government initiative, I think it will reduce the cost of products on the market. Because if today the government has enough foodstuffs or plantain from, let's say, a coupon in the eastern region, I think people within the eastern region will be buying plantain at a cheaper cost.
Okay.
Where nobody has to go back to a coupon to get plantain and bring it to Accra. Where the government itself will transport the food to Accra at a lesser cost, sell it to these even our market women in wholesale or retailing, where they'll go back to the market square to sell. And through this, one way or the other, we also have a way of controlling our market prices. Because if the government has enough food that the government is supplying to the market, I don't think someone can sell plantain at 50 cedis while the other person is selling at 20 cedis. This is something that will also help in controlling our market prices.
Okay.
Yes.
Another thing that the minister mentioned was that, there is poultry. There's poultry that is part of it. He did mention that they're going to, give the poultry the best of feed.
Yeah.
So it might slightly go higher. The price might slightly go up compared to the ones imported. Already people prefer the imported ones, although they're a bit inferior to the local ones. Yeah. Don't you think if this happens, it's going to put a further strain on our local poultry? People are going to ditch it and say that let's go for the cheaper version.
My brother, why do people prefer foreign, or people have taste for foreign goods? Because there is no any other alternative. About 2 years ago, we had the CEO of your sister station, City TV, tweeting on eat Ghana rice, buy Ghana rice, we're made in Ghana, do this. And at the end of the year, we had our finance minister talking about the cut down of importation of rice during that Christmas season. So I think because there is no alternative for the ordinary Ghanaian, that is why we choose using what we call the false meat, as compared to the live ones. So I think when we are doing this and we are doing it well, people will buy. And this is something we are producing in our country. Our sister country like Nigeria today is not importing any rice into their country. They started from somewhere, and that is why they are where they are today. So at least we are starting from somewhere today, and hopefully within 3 to 5 years, as said by the Agric Minister, Dr. Brian Champon, by 5 years, we will be food sufficient in this country. And I don't think any government will allow somebody to even go and import any foodstuff from anywhere into our system.
Right.
And by cutting down these importations, will also boost our economy.
Okay.
Where our city will find its way by getting some kind of strength against the dollar. So I think with time we'll get there.
Right. Solomon, do you agree? Because if, for example, in a very competitive market, usually people like to go for the price that is a bit lower, and then, the Agric Minister is saying, look, we're going to give them the best of feed so that they are the healthiest of poultry that we have around, and it's going to go up a bit in terms of price compared to the imported ones. Do you think genuinely that could affect the already crippling local poultry?
No. Well, so for me, really, I want to let me enlarge it a bit more into the access to market for this produce. Whether foodstuff or fowl, chicken, or whatever it is.
Right.
There is market for it.
Okay.
All right. There's demand for it. We are actually in shortage of some of this foodstuff already in this country. Thereby, we importing most of them. Now, let's also not forget there's one key thing as well that where Africa is heading towards now on the free trade area, for instance. So now, if you are producing anything in Ghana, you have the right to think not in the sense that you are producing for 32 million Ghanaians, but they are producing for about 1.6 billion Africans. All right. So if our young people are able to produce more, of course, we can start looking at exporting food products across Africa. And because of the free trade area, it's easy now to export across the board. And so for me, really, it's a good initiative, as I said earlier on. There's a market for it everywhere, every now and then. Even locally, there's a market. Continentally, there's a market. And even globally, there's a market for agri stuff. So I don't think there should be any issue at all. My only concern, really, is about sustainability. What measures we have in place to ensure that we can sustain this to make it a standard business operation for the young people.
Right.
That's my major key and issue. And I think that there are plans in place.
Okay.
It can only get better. And for me, I think also that the government must more. You asked earlier about partnership or the role that we are playing as an association. I think that the government must work through some of these networks already in place. I had issue on the launching day where I didn't see the NYA, that's the National Youth Authority. I didn't see them really involved in this whole program, and I was quite surprised. Because if you want to work with the youth, the first body you should call on is the National Youth Authority.
Right.
No matter the whatever it is, sector that you want to operate in, once they have to do with the youth, the first point of call should be the National Youth Authority. If I had a chance, I'll ask the Agri Minister, I'll ask the YEA boss and all those things, what role did the NYA play in the launching, or what role is the NYA playing in mobilizing the young people for all this project?
Right.
Other day, we need to avoid duplication of effort as a country.
Okay.
I know that the NYA is already running an agribusiness project for youth as well. The NEIP, as a National Entrepreneurship and Innovations Program, are also running a certain agribusiness project for youth. So why do we need to get these separate initiatives? Why can't we put on one basket and make it a one-stop shop that everybody just go and get, but than to make it this put in silos? I have issue with that as well, and I think that if you don't take care, some of these silos things doing can cripple our whole effort. Because I want to believe that if we should put all our basket, our fund in one pool and our resources in one pool and channel it properly to the right sources, we will see much more results than NY doing their own things separately, YE on a separate side, NEIP on a separate side. I don't think that has helped us as a country.
Right.
And as we progress, policy-wise, we need to know who does what. In terms of partnerships, where does your own start? Where does it end? Where do I come in? Where do I end? And who then take over from there? Then we all working together as a nation. But if you sit and do your own, then because whatever reason, I have no idea, and then this person giving this fund to do this, I don't know where we're heading towards with this. And to me, really, that have wahala when it comes to sustainability. And I think that we need to check that as well. If the Ministry of Agribusiness stuff did not consider working through the other already existing agencies, especially the Youth Authority and then the NEIP, they should get them on board. Because I know they are doing something already that has to do with young people or youth in general, that they can easily rope this in to ensure that we have a national project that will benefit us all in the long term.
Right. Okay. Let me read a few text messages that have come through. This one says, "Good evening. I have a family land that I can get at least 50 acres in the Volta region. What should I do to get into the farming program? I'm Divine from Second D. Divine, I'll answer that question for you pretty shortly. This one also says, this is a great initiative. This is likely to boost the economy if it is well implemented. Great submission from Prince. I am Prince Money from Brim North. And this one says, greetings from Empower Youth Nima Zongo NGO. We own 7 acres of land specifically for farming. I want to know how we can be assisted as we are interested in the farming industry. Good evening to your panelists. Please, I'm watching you from Tamale. Please, those of us living in Tamale, where can we locate them? Please, can I get Solomon's contact? My name is Alhaji Hamdawi from Tamale. Thank you. This one also says, good evening. I really like the discussion. I want to find out whether the program is targeted only the youth. Is there any age limit? Thank you. Yes, a call. From what I heard, it's targeted at the youth. So from the first person, that is Divine from Second D, who was asking how he can access the program, and the others who are also asking how they access the program. Well, somebody just sent me a screenshot of they visiting the website and then registering, and they've been told to wait. They are in sort of a queue. So you can go to apply.yea.gov.gh. apply.yea.gov.gh. You follow the registration procedure, and then you'll be registered onto the program, and I'm sure they'll get back to you in a matter of time. And we'll hold on for now and take a quick break. We'll be back to continue with my guests in the studio. Stay tuned. Right. You're welcome to Bottomline. My name is Kenneth Jesse. We're about wrapping up. We're discussing the initiative that has been introduced by the government, that is the Youth in Agriculture Program. And if you just joined us, let me explain a bit further what it means. So it is about making the youth accept farming as a commercial business venture, which will generate appreciable income to meet farmers' domestic and personal needs. The youth will also improve their standard of living through improved income. The youth will be motivated to stay in rural areas as inputs will be delivered at their farm gate on credit basis and interest-free. Produce enough food crops, meat and fish using modern methods. And then components of the Youth in Agric program include crops or block farm, livestock and poultry, fisheries, aquaculture, and agribusiness. So it entails a lot. If you are interested in it, you can go to the website of YEA. You go to apply.yea.gov.gh. You apply, you wait in line. They'll surely get back to you. I'm in the studio with Prince Ofosu Entry, who is a youth activist, and Solomon Ejay, who is the president of the Association of Ghana Startups. I mean, gentlemen, we all want this to succeed. I mean, regardless, sure, everybody would want this to succeed. If you have any any advice to government on how to sustain this, briefly, what would be your advice to the government, especially to the Agric Minister, if this is to be sustainable?
Well, so I think that I've already shared a couple of my thoughts on sustainability, which I think is key. As I said, we all know that agribusiness is one of the biggest sectors in our economy. And of course, the global economy, agribusiness is key in terms of food and all those things. Everybody eats. And so we need food. We need enough and abundance of food in our buffer stores and all those things. We need food. All right? And so anything that is supposed to bring food, for me, I think is a great thing that we need to support it by any means possible. That's why I kept talking about what plans are in place to ensure that this will not be a one-off project, because to me, it's a great initiative and it must be sustained over time. I strongly believe that if the fund that is allocated can be more like a revolving fund, that will help in the long-term run, so that what I don't want to hear is that next 1, 2, 3, 4 years, they'll come and tell us, oh, funds has run out. It's Ikanasa, so we can't do anything again. I mean, we've had this over time. All right? So for me, I don't want to hear that. So whatever measures that they can put in place to ensure that we can always have funds in that coffers to support. Like I said earlier on, agribusiness have been, then time used to be more like a punishment to young people.
Yes.
And so it doesn't look attractive. But government is trying to change that narrative. And it needs more deliberate effort, more deliberate attempt, more strategies, and more support to the young people. Giving them grant is fine. But for me, I want to move beyond grant and give really you give the money, you work, you pay back in such a way that it will not be, how much can you get as grant? How much can be given to you as a grant? But if there's a way that I can access huge funding to expand my farming or my business, to be able to produce more and export it beyond borders, perfect. ADB is there. Go and check ADB's portfolio. How many % of their portfolio is going to agribusiness or young people doing agribusiness? That's ADB, Agric or Development Bank, right? Go and check. Before you can access even funding from that, wahala. Just about 10 to 50% of their funding go to agribusiness or agriculture in that sense. Meanwhile, that bank was supposed to solely target agricultural stuff. I don't know what happened. Can we resource them again to be on their feet, change the focus so they can focus solely on funding agri-related activity or projects? Maybe that will help us much. Right. Secondly, issues of land acquisitions. We know about these issues happening now in Galamsey and all those things. You're giving money to farmers to go and farm. Meanwhile, the farmlands are now being used to turn into Galamsey field and all those things. Go to the other regions. Many regions in Ghana here now, Galamsey has taken over. Where are the farmlands? In the long run, if we don't take care, the rich nutrients in the soil that we can use for farming we lose them all. And so whatever you plan may not work. So the question I will ask myself now, and to those in charge, what plans are they putting in place to ensure that the Galamsey thing will also stop? Targeting the areas that they have targeted for their sole project to start with, so that whoever is digging the soil for Galamsey will not go to those areas as well. And lastly, I can talk about the partnership again. I'll talk about that briefly, but I think that we need a deliberate attempt. We need a coordinated effort. We need to work as a unit, all right? If this project is truly for the youth, I don't see why the National Youth Authority is not involved. They must be involved. I don't see why the NERP is not involved. They must get involved. YEA can play the lead role, no problem. But other agencies who have a role to play in the youth development space should be brought on board. So together, we can push the umbrella. And again, institutions like us, the Association of Ghana Startups, AGIs and co., we all have a role to play in supporting young people. How is government going to work with all of us to ensure that we can offer support? See, it is not just about giving money or giving seedlings or giving land. The issues of mentoring, hand-holding processes. Who had done it before?
Right.
That we can talk to a person to lend a hand of support to these young people that want to come up. Who and who are doing well that need to be celebrated enough so it will inspire and motivate others. We should look beyond, put some awards program, for instance, that will recognize young people doing exceptional in agribusiness. Right. We have the Ghana Startup Awards and things like that. We have sessions for agribusiness. But is those in charge willing to support us to run this initiative, support and motivate and inspire? So I think partnership is key, collaboration is key, and there's structured policies to ensure that this can be sustained over time. For me, is key.
Right. Solomon Ajay is the president of the Association of Ghana Startups. Thank you very much, Solomon. Prince, let me wrap up with you. I think I really felt how food insufficient we are as a country when, one, the war in Russia and Ukraine started. We started to suffer from the supply of grains. We had an imported inflation, especially on food. When the coup happened in Burkina Faso, onions were in short supply in the country, which put strain on that, And then also the coup in Niger also resulted in the shortage of onions and peppers and all that. So that means clearly we are highly, highly food insufficient as a country, to the extent that if anything happens in any country that we even don't know, it affects us. So this should be a good initiative. But as Solomon wrapped up with us briefly, how can we sustain this?
Thank you very much. I think I spoke about our attitude not change, and that is the most important thing, because the government, one way or the other, will make sure the funds are available, but the youth should work on their attitude. We shouldn't go there, take the money or the seedlings and go out, sell them to other people and leave. Checking the average age of farmers in Ghana ranges from 55 years to 60 years. So the lifespan of farmers is around 5 years, because in Ghana by 60 years you should be on pension. And I don't think somebody around the age of 65 years will be going to the farm to work or have any tedious work being done around the cocoa farm. But I think this has to do with the issue of branding. How are we branding our agriculture sector? If you are able to brand this sector very well to attract the youth, as the Agric Minister today is doing, I think the youth will be enticed and move into agriculture, as we are all willing and ready to work with this government.
Right.
So I think that we should brand the agriculture sector very well.
Okay.
Branding it very well will attract the youth to come in.
Right.
When they come in, that is when they see the lucrative aspect of the agriculture sector. And I'm also trying to chip this in that the government should also watch the kind of people they are going to release the funds to. This shouldn't be an initiative where we'll create job for the boys. Well, we think somebody has worked for a political party over the years. Somebody has been a serial caller, and because of that, we should give the person $150,000, and then tomorrow we'll go to the farm and we'll see nothing there. You give tractors to people who wouldn't have even skills to operate the tractors or the combine harvesters. They go to their places and sell them to other people We should check all these things.
Right.
And we also plead with this civil servant that are going to deal with the registration, the acceptance of applications and proposals. Please and please, they should accept proposals of people who have the passion and are willing to farm. People who are willing to move into agriculture. Not flashy proposals that people will sit on the internet, download things and join documents and present it because they need money to buy flashy stuffs.
Right.
To move around in the country.
Yep.
So we'll plead with the government, the Chief Executive Officer of YEA, the Honorable Dr. Brian Champon, the Agric Minister, and the President, and then the National Youth Authority. They should also be a checkpoint on this project.
Right.
Because this project is solely dealing with the youth and not the old age. This money shouldn't be disbursed to the old age.
Right.
This money shouldn't be disbursed to party boys. This money should be given to the ordinary Ghanaian youth who are willing to farm, who are willing to move into agriculture, people who are willing to move into crop production, people who are willing to move into poultry, livestock, and all.
Okay.
So that is what we are going to plead with the government and the ordinary youth
Okay.
to also change their attitude towards this initiative.
Okay, Prince Ofosu Entry is also a youth activist, and earlier I was joined by Solomon Ejay, who is the president of the Association of Ghana Startups. This has been Bottom Line. My name is Kenneth Jesse. Thank you very much for watching. See you same time next week. Bye-bye.